Why we need the 5 laws of gold. A city that fell, but a philosophy that remains. Thousands of years ago, in the heart of a sun-scorched desert, there stood a city unlike any other. Its name was Babylon. Its towering walls no longer cast shadows on the ground. Its majestic gates are buried beneath sand and time. But what made Babylon great did not perish with its stones. What made Babylon great was its way of thinking. It was the way its people faced poverty, debt, and uncertainty, and from those challenges carved out wealth, dignity, and peace of mind. The buildings fell, but the wisdom survived. Money is not a tool, it's a reflection of your thinking. Take a moment and look at your own life. You may know people who work less than you, but have more money. You may have seen someone win big and then lose it all. And surely you've met someone who simply, quietly, kept growing, slowly but surely. What separates them is not luck, not education, not the stars. It's their relationship with money. The ancient Babylonians believed, money does not come by chance. It comes to those who understand it and leaves those who ignore its laws. Why do we need laws for money? Today, we have smartphones, online banks, digital coins, investment apps. The modern world gives us countless tools, but the more tools we have, the more lost we become. We chase new trends. We search for quick profits. We fall into traps because we never learned the timeless rules. We don't need 100 tricks to get rich. We need 5 unchanging principles, proven over thousands of years. These are the 5 laws of gold. They don't come from college textbooks. They come from lived experience, from men and women who once had nothing and chose to change that. The story of Kalabab and his disciples. There once was a merchant named Kalabab, once the poorest man in Babylon's brick market. One day, he met again with 7 young men he had once mentored, men who used to sleep hungry, surviving on date peels and scraps. Now, 3 had prospered, 4 had not. They still blamed luck. They still believed fate had cheated them. But Kalabab did not scold them. He simply reminded them of the one lesson he had always taught them, a lesson they heard but never lived. That lesson was the 5 laws of gold. Money has no emotion, but you must know how to treat it. You can forgive a friend, overlook a betrayal, excuse a mistake. But money? Money does not forgive. It does not wait. It does not care. It leaves those who treat it carelessly. It punishes those who act without wisdom. It rewards those who learn, who plan, who act with respect and patience. The laws you're about to learn are not about being stingy or greedy. They are about understanding limits, knowing when to hold, when to invest, learning how to make money serve you instead of you serving money. The difference between the poor and the not yet rich. The world has 3 kinds of people. Those who are poor because they have lost control. Those who are not yet rich because they have potential but lack discipline. And those who are truly wealthy because they understand the rules, live below their means, and make money grow. Which one are you? If you're still listening, you are not lost. You are on the path. This path does not require genius. It requires commitment to principle. What these 5 laws will give you. If you live by the 5 laws of gold, you will escape the stress of running out of money. Face emergencies with confidence. Build wealth for yourself and those you love. Stop living paycheck to paycheck and start living by design. More than money, you'll gain something far greater: freedom. And if you don't, look around. How many people work a lifetime and retire with nothing? How many fall into debt because they never learned self-control? How many lose everything in reckless investments? How many repeat the same mistakes just because they never understood the rules of money? If you don't study these laws, money will leave you. If you don't apply them, knowledge becomes useless. And if you wait too long, another 5 years may pass without change. A new journey begins. Today, you don't need more tricks. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to learn these laws and live by them. So, take a notebook, a quiet moment, a ready heart. Because the first law will forever change how you view money and how you view yourself. Coming up, Part 2, the first law of gold. Gold comes gladly to those who save at least 1/10 of what they earn. The first law of gold. Gold comes gladly to those who save at least 1/10 of what they earn. A whisper from the past. In the warm morning sun of Babylon, Calabab raised his voice over the crowd of young men gathered before him. Their eyes were hungry, not for food, but for wisdom. The first law, he said, is the oldest and the simplest, and yet it is the one most ignored. He paused, then declared, "Gold comes gladly and in increasing quantity to the man who saves not less than 1/10 of his earnings for the use of his own future." The crowd grew still. Simple, yet unpracticed. Why is it that the most powerful truths are often the simplest? And why is it that simplicity is so often ignored? Every person who earns money can save a part of it, but most do not. We convince ourselves that we need all we earn just to survive. We make excuses: rent, food, bills, children, debt, emergencies. But Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, once said, "That which each of us calls necessary expenses will always grow to equal our income unless we resist." This is the paradox. We don't get rich by earning more. We get rich by keeping more. Pay yourself first. The essence of the first law is not savings, it's respect. When you work, you pay everyone else. The landlord, the grocery store, the tax collector, the phone company, even the coffee shop. But what about you? Do you pay yourself? You worked, you labored, you gave your time, and yet you take nothing for your future? Saving 1/10, just 10%, is not greed. It is the beginning of financial self-respect. What happens when you begin? The first time you save 10%, it feels like nothing. One coin in a small pouch, one note in a jar, one number in your bank app. It's quiet, it's invisible, no one praises you. But slowly, something shifts. Your thinking changes. You walk with more purpose. You begin to feel in control. You stop fearing the future. Why? Because you have begun to build a wall of protection between you and poverty. Every coin you save is a brick in that wall. The seed that becomes a tree. Think of every dollar you earn as a seed. You can spend it and enjoy a moment, or you can plant it and enjoy fruit for years. Saving is planting, but not just for money's sake. You're planting freedom, security, choice, power. The man who saves is not just preparing for wealth, he is building discipline. and discipline is the soil in which all prosperity grows. Adjust. But I don't earn enough. This is the cry of every person who lives in fear. And to them, Arcad replied, "You think you cannot save because your income is small. I say you cannot afford not to save, for that is why your income stays small." The truth is hard, but it is liberating. Even if you earn little, saving a little of the little proves you are ready for more. If you cannot manage 10 coins, why would the gods trust you with 100? The mindset of ownership. Every time you save, you declare, "I own my future." You stop being a servant of money and begin to make money serve you. Even if it's slow, even if it's small, this habit changes your destiny. In time, your small savings become a cushion. The cushion becomes capital. Capital becomes investment, and investment becomes freedom. But it all begins with a single, stubborn habit. Save 1/10 of what you earn, every time, without exception. The foundation of all wealth. There are thousands of ways to get rich, but none of them matter if you cannot master this law. Because if you spend all you earn, no matter how much, you will remain poor. And if you save what seems too small today, it will become more than you ever imagined tomorrow. This is the quiet, patient power of the first law. What to do now? So, what should you do? Open a separate account. Call it My Future. From your very next income, take 10% and move it immediately. Tell no one. You don't need applause. This is not for them. Keep doing it, every week, every month, no matter what. Do not spend this money. It is not savings. It is seed capital for your freedom. And one day, it will save you from fear, from debt, from despair. The voice of gold. If gold could speak, it would say, "I come willingly to the man who respects me. I grow in the hands of the disciplined. I flee from the careless." And you, what would gold say about you? The answer is in your next decision. Coming next, Part 3, the second law of gold. Gold labors diligently and multiplies for the wise owner who finds it profitable employment. The second law of gold. Gold labors diligently and multiplies for the wise owner who finds it profitable employment. The question every saver eventually asks. Once you start saving, truly saving, a new question will arise. What do I do with this money? It sits in your account. It grows, slowly, like a seed in the dark. But you feel the weight of it, the responsibility. That's when Kulabab taught the second law. Gold labors diligently and multiplies for the wise owner who finds it profitable employment. He looked his students in the eye. Your gold must not be idle. It must go to work, just as you go to work. Money is a worker. Every coin you own is a little employee. You can keep it locked in a box where it does nothing. Or you can send it out into the world, to trade, to build, to grow. You wake up at 6 a.m. to work, but your money? It can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you know how to put it to work. The second law is not about working harder. It's about letting your money work while you rest. This is not a fantasy. This is compound growth. The magic of multiplication. Imagine this. You invest $100. It earns 10% a year. That's $10. Now next year, you earn interest not just on $100, but on $110, then $121, then $133.01. The longer you leave it, the faster it grows. This is called compound interest, and Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Arcad once said, Let thy gold be thy servant, and let its children also serve thee. In other words, let your money make money, then let that money make more money. What happens if you don't? Money that sleeps dies. It's eaten by inflation. It's lost in impulse spending. It disappears when crisis strikes. Think of money like water. If it flows, it gives life. If it sits still, it grows mold. Saving is the dam. Investing is the stream. Without the stream, the reservoir overflows and becomes useless. Profitable employment. What does it mean? To find profitable employment for your money means this. Place it where it can grow safely and steadily. Not all opportunities are equal. Some bring excitement. Others bring silent, steady growth. In Babylon, Arkad lent money to honest craftsmen who returned it with interest. Today, you might invest in a business, buy income-generating assets, purchase property, lend at fair, secure interest. Even invest in your own education if it increases your ability to earn. But remember, a wise investment is not a lucky guess. It is a decision built on understanding. What the second law is not. This law is not a permission slip to gamble. Gold must multiply, not vanish. Many people, once they've saved, rush into risky deals. This crypto coin will 10x overnight. This friend's startup just needs a little push. This secret stock pick is guaranteed to explode. But Kalabab warned, money that is rushed into excitement often flees before sunrise. You must not only find employment for your gold, but profitable and safe employment. What makes an investment wise? Ask yourself, do I understand this opportunity? Do I trust the people involved? Can I afford to lose this money if I'm wrong? Does this align with my long-term goals? Can I sleep at night knowing my gold is there? If the answer is no to any of these, your gold is not working. It is gambling. Build streams, not storms. A wise man does not build a fortune on luck. He builds streams of income. Each stream flows steadily, not flashy, but predictable. Over time, those streams become a river, and that river feeds a future where you no longer trade time for money. You trade money for freedom. Let your gold work while you rest. The second law is about dignity. Why should you work all your life while your money does nothing? Let it carry some of the weight. Let it earn as you sleep. Let it grow as you live. Let it produce so that one day you don't have to. Point to do now. List your savings. How much have you set aside? Start small. Choose one low-risk investment or learning opportunity. Reinvest the returns. Do not spend them. Learn constantly. Read, ask, research. Think long-term. Your money is building a future, not chasing a thrill. The voice of gold. If your gold could speak, it would say, "Give me work and I will build you a kingdom. Leave me idle and I will fade into dust." The second law is not just advice, it is a call to action. The third law of gold. Gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of wise men. The pain of loss. By now, you've saved. You've begun to invest. You've seen your gold multiply. But with growth comes temptation. What if I doubled it? What if I moved faster? What if I trusted this person who promised more? And in that moment, the third law must speak. Gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of wise men. Because saving is only the first shield. True wealth is protected, not just grown. The trap of overconfidence. There is a danger that waits quietly after your first taste of success. It is not poverty, it is not fear, it is overconfidence. You begin to believe that every opportunity is golden. You trust easily, You skipped questions. You leaped without a net. And soon, the gold you worked years to build is gone in days. Calabab warned his students, "The inexperienced often mistake confidence for wisdom and pay it for it with their treasure." Caution is not cowardice. Many confuse caution with weakness, but in truth, caution is the highest form of strength. To be cautious is not to fear. It is to respect. To respect what you've earned. To respect the power of money. To respect how easily it disappears. Gold does not stay with the bold. It stays with the wise. And the wise are always cautious. The role of advice. This law speaks not only of caution, but of counsel. Invest only under the advice of wise men. Why? Because you don't know what you don't know. A blacksmith may be brilliant at forging steel, but knows nothing about precious stones. A merchant may know trade, but not how to value land. A builder may know bricks, but not business. Calabab said, "Seek those who have succeeded in the field you are entering. Let their scars protect you." When you invest with wisdom, your gold is not at risk. It is shielded by experience greater than your own. Stories of the unwise. Arcad once told of a friend who saved diligently for 5 years. Then, excited to grow his savings quickly, he gave all of it to a man traveling to buy jewels in a far land. The traveler returned, but the jewels were fake. Everything was lost. Arcad did not mock his friend. He said gently, "You gave your gold to one who knew nothing of jewels. What did you expect?" This is the third law in action. Trust is not enough. Good intentions are not enough. Even effort is not enough. You must combine money with qualified advice.
What makes a man wise? Not every successful person is wise. Not every talker is trustworthy. Here are 5 signs of wise counsel. They have succeeded in what you seek. They speak from experience, not opinion. They warn you, not hype you. They have nothing to gain from your decision. They have failed and learned. Listen to those who have lost money and still came back stronger. Their pain is now your protection. Questions a cautious investor always asks. Before investing, ask, "Do I truly understand this opportunity? Can I explain it to a child? What are the risks, not just the gains? What's the worst case scenario? Who will I learn from if things go wrong?" If you hesitate to answer, wait. If something feels wrong, pause. If it's too good to be true, walk away. Because every rush decision has one thing in common: regret. Loss is not always financial. There are losses greater than money. Loss of trust, loss of time, loss of momentum, loss of self-belief. The third law protects not just your gold, but your confidence. Because a person who loses everything too quickly may never try again. Protect your gold, but more importantly, protect your courage. What you should do now. List all the money you've saved and invested. Ask yourself, is any of it at unnecessary risk? Speak with someone who's done what you want to do. Study before you decide. Make patience your partner. Remember, wealth is not built in excitement. It is built in silence. The voice of gold. If gold could speak, it would say, "I flee from the reckless. I hide from the greedy. But I stay with the one who respects my power and seeks wisdom before action." The third law is not about fear. It is about honor. Honor what you've earned. Honor those who've gone before you. And honor the journey ahead. Because one wise decision can protect a lifetime of work. The fourth and fifth laws of gold. protect what you have, and grow who you are. Law 4. Gold is afraid of ignorance. Calabab stood before his students and said, "The fourth law is this: gold slips away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar, or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep." He paused and looked them in the eyes. Gold fears ignorance more than thieves. You must understand where your money goes. Imagine this. A man earns 10 coins. He saves 1. He gives it to a stranger to invest in rare herbs. He knows nothing about herbs. He doesn't even ask how the business works. He just hopes. A month later, the stranger is gone, and so is the coin. Calabab's voice cut through the crowd. A man who invests in what he does not understand will pay tuition to the school of hard loss. Curiosity saves more than fear ever will. The fourth law teaches us this: before you invest, learn. Before you commit, ask. Before you risk, think. You don't need to be an expert in everything, but you must understand the basics of where your money goes. Ask yourself, what does this business actually do? How does it make money? Who runs it? What are the risks? Can I explain this to someone else? If you can't explain it, you shouldn't fund it. Because gold hates confusion. It stays only with the clear-minded. Build slowly, not blindly. Some say, just jump in and learn along the way. But Calabab would answer, jumping without a map is not bravery, it is betrayal. Betrayal of your own effort. Learn first. Start small. Test the waters. Then grow with knowledge, not with wishful thinking. Law 5. Gold runs from greed and delusion. And now the fifth and final law. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who follows the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment. In other words, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Greed is the most polite thief. Greed never shouts, it whispers. You're smart enough to beat the system. This one time is different. You deserve this shortcut. Just double your gold overnight. Everyone else is doing it. And so we abandon the first 4 laws. We forget caution. We forget wisdom. We forget patience. And gold, faithful as it is, runs. Calabab's final warning. Calabab shared a story. A merchant heard of a scheme to triple his gold by buying foreign camels. He knew nothing of camels, but the promise of fast returns excited him. He gave away his savings. The camels never came. Calabab said, "The man who lets emotion choose for him will let sorrow speak to him next." The fifth law is not about numbers, it's about character. The character to say no to easy money. The strength to walk away from golden lies. The courage to build slow and strong. How to spot a dangerous opportunity. Ask, is the return guaranteed or too high? Does the deal require urgency or secrecy? Is it based more on emotion than reason? Do you feel pressure, fear, or greed when you hear it? Does it promise more than it explains? If so, it's not an opportunity, it's a test of your wisdom. Grow who you are. The fifth law whispers this truth. If you want to grow your gold, you must first grow yourself. Study, ask questions, build habits, think long-term. Surround yourself with truth, not hype. your wealth will only grow to the level of your self-control. The 5 Laws Revisited. As Kalabab closed his teaching, he stood tall and strong. He spoke the 5 laws once more. Gold comes to the man who saves at least 1/10 of what he earns. Gold multiplies in the hands of the wise who invest it well. Gold stays with the cautious who seek advice before investing. Gold slips away from those who invest in things they do not understand. Gold flees from those ruled by greed, haste, and foolish hope. He said, "These laws are not rules, they are truths. They do not care whether you believe them. They simply work." One final message. If you follow these 5 laws, quietly, patiently, faithfully, your purse will grow, not only in gold, but in wisdom, in confidence, in freedom. And if you stray from them, you will learn, and you will return, because the laws do not punish, they teach. The question is not, will they work? The question is, will you?